Cool Cucumber. Cool Cucumber.
Coolcucumbertv.
Welcome to Coolcucumbertv.
Sauvage cucumbers, Rihanna Soul.
Hello and welcome to another bouncing edition of Coolcucumbertv. We start this time with a visit to the great Alyn Williams in his restaurant at the Westbury Hotel, where he shows us that vegetarian food is more than a roast without the meat. Restaurants are not just about food, service is just as important. We follow the excitements of the very first national competition for front of house, the Gold Service Scholarship. We visit two old friends, Didier and Eric Garnier, in their welcoming new local restaurant in Earls Court. Before talking to rib room chef Ian Rudge about his background, traditional food, and how London is the most exciting place in the world for a chef. A quick jump to the west takes us to Bravas in Bristol. And finally, some great cooking with Jason Atherton and Maldon salt. Alyn Williams, your restaurant at the Westbury.
Yes.
You must be very proud.
Very happy.
It's a nice hotel.
Yes, it's a lovely hotel.
Tell me about the menu, because it's an interesting one. And I know you've got vegetarian tasting menu, which I don't think I've seen very often.
No, we put the vegetarian tasting menu next to, I call it the normal tasting menu, but the meat and fish tasting menu. I've always been interested in vegetarian cookery, and I don't think that the vegetarian menu should be have any less of a status than the other menus. So we run them side by side, and there's a vegetarian a la carte next to the a la carte menu too.
Okay. If I'm sitting with someone that wants to eat the vegetarian menu and I want the tasting menu, can we do that? How does that work?
You can do what you like.
Really?
So we're very flexible with our menus, and I fully appreciate that if you come to a restaurant, you don't necessarily want exactly what's listed down on the menu for you. So if you came and you wanted to swap dishes over, you're more than welcome to do that. So we often have people who will have the full vegetarian menu until it comes to the main course, and then they'll have suckling pig or lamb, or the other way around, and they'll have a couple of vegetarian choices on the tasting menu along with some of the others. So we have everything here. We want to. It's all about experience, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's. I have to say, some of these dishes on here look terrific. So you've got vegetarian menu, the tasting menu, and the a la carte as well.
That's right.
And also a vegetarian a la carte.
We have a vegetarian a la carte.
That's fantastic.
But I think the important thing also is that though the vegetarian dishes don't reflect what's on the other a la carte or the other tasting menu, minus the proteins. You know, they're all very much a dish on their own.
Yeah.
So what we don't do is just make up the same dish and take off the meat or the fish. It's very much a vegetarian menu that is designed around the vegetables. I think the style of food stems from sort of traditional French cuisine, but it's all come a long way and been modernised.
Your version of it.
Our version of it, yeah. And but still some very familiar combinations, but some other combinations that are a little bit more. A bit newer and a bit more modern, maybe a bit more interesting. Well, I think this is a really nice summer version of a nice langoustine. It's a carpaccio of langoustine. So what we do is we take the langoustine tails and we take 10 of them and actually put them top to tail in cling film, roll them into a balancine, and then freeze them. So you've got these discs. Then we slice them on a.
Oh, you slice them as and when you want them.
Just put a little bit of vinaigrette on them, tiny bit of Maldon salt to season them, and then layer them on the plate. And this is lots of courgettes. Mm-hmm. So we've got trombetta courgette, which is this courgette, and this one, which is a seedless Italian, very long white with a pale green skin courgette. It's got a lovely crunchy texture, really nice, full, deep courgette flavour to it. And then we've got some baby courgettes. The dressing on the bottom is a courgette flour dressing.
Oh, right.
So we puree the courgette flour. This one's a courgette custard here. And then these dots are actually avocado. So it's a nice summer dish. And the spice on there is sumac, which is a Northern African spice, which has a real nice acidity to it, which runs really beautifully with the Longsteins. This is a dessert that we've got on our lunch menu at the moment. This is a meadow sweet panna cotta. Meadow sweet is a flower that you find in our countryside, and it's got a very quite an aromatic, almondy, almost medicinal flavour to it. Absolutely delicious, and it's something that we don't see very often.
So very, very British.
Very British, yeah. We infuse it into milk.
Okay.
So we infuse it into milk and then set the milk lightly as a panna cotta, and then we've got some poached blueberries, which are poached in. We make a little blueberry syrup, and then just poach them in the blueberry syrup. On the top, what we've got is a sugar twill, but we've put blueberry puree into the twill, so that we've got flecks of blueberry puree through the sugar crisp. We make a cob nut puree. So we've got a few dots of cob nuts on the cob nut puree, some slices of cob nuts, and then I've got some candied wood sorrel to give it a little acidic bite, and a little bit of yogurt powder. Okay. So we dehydrate yogurt, make a yogurt powder. Take that and then put the twill straight over, and then what happens is as you go into it with your spoon, you've got a little crunch of the sugar twill along with the creaminess of the panna cotta and a bite of the nuts as well.
Why a competition? Because it's been a dream of mine.
The idea of the scholarship is to stimulate interest in young people and to encourage them to pursue a career in hospitality. But what we really realise is that they need role models. And so there are some really fantastic mentors, many of whom have achieved greatest heights in our industry, who are going to be available to help those young people.
I look back on my career. I started off right down there, and I could see what can be done if you start right down there at the bottom.
The RU have done a scholarship for the last 30 years on cooking, and always been one of my aim to do something like that for the front of the house. And when I was approached by Willie Bauer, I went straight into it and said, yes, we got to do it, because it's the best thing you can give back to your profession.
Years gone by, every great establishment had a star, and it was normally either the restaurant manager or the maître d', whatever you may call them.
We have an awful lot of fantastic and valued chefing competitions, but what we do need is to really focus on front of house skills, and I think the Gold Scholarship will help us to do that.
Because what is a good meal without a good service?
They're doing a range of 8 tasks. Each task is designed to look at a particular aspect of what they're doing. And overall, then, we're looking for somebody who really ticks all the boxes and has passed every aspect. It isn't just about the highest score. They do have to pass every aspect.
nice to have something that's focusing purely on front of house. Not to say there's nothing wrong with chefing, just it's nice to have that focus on front of house as well.
Sure. Do you think it's very important?
Vital.
People that are running this competition are really some of the industry greats. They've got so much experience and so much talent that they can learn and pass on.
I want to learn really as much as I can, and this is the best bunch of people to learn from.
The 10 we saw today, they are fantastic. Very good quality, very enthusiastic people, and they are very, very good.
What I like, is the way they present themselves and how they're coming to the judges and how they are relaxed and how they just present themselves and say, "Hi, my name is Stuart or Tom or Harry." And they do it with real ease and with real natural, and I think this is very good, and this is what we're looking for.
For me, the most important for this competition is their attitude. Have they got the attitude to carry on, to do this job and stay on the job for a long time? Have they got the attitude to service? Are they smiling? Have they got a good approach? The majority of all service industry is all done with eyes and smile.
I suppose new challenges. Learning things that I didn't know even existed in hospitality, even being here today at the regional final and talking to other contestants who work in different aspects of the trade. I didn't know some of the things they're even talking about.
Even just the preparation for the day just makes you grow up in a certain way, even if you don't win.
The prize at the end, it's priceless,
They will have a year of mentoring and support. I suspect it's going to go on for a lot longer than that, depending on what their particular aspirations are.
They suddenly become part of a network of the very best people in service in the British catering industry, which, first of all, that's gold dust for anybody. That's a real boost for the career. Secondly, the idea is to give them experience of working in various establishments so that they can just get a sense of all the different levels and the attention to detail that's involved.
It was just a dream.
I think it's been a phenomenal competition. It's been really tough, really challenging. There's been some really good competitors, but it's also been great fun. I've met a lot of nice people, and all in all, I've really thoroughly enjoyed myself.
The competition's been fantastic. It's been a great experience. It's my first competition I've done, but it's been perfect to do. I've learnt so much, met so many new people. The judges have been fantastic, but I just chose I've got the buzz for it now. I want to carry on doing more and more.
And there are young people with so much potential, and they need to be helped, and we were there to help them.
And today we're privileged to meet the stars of the future in the UK who really make service work.
Oh, it's brilliant. It should have been done a long time ago.
Eric, Didier, thank you very much for spending the time. New restaurant just opened. I noticed at lunchtime you were very busy, 50-odd comers. There seem to be quite a lot of French people here. Are they making it their home already?
Yeah, there is a big influence of French now in South Kensington and Earls Court. I think it seems to be moving from Chelsea to Earls Court, did you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, your restaurant, La Colombier, is busier than ever.
Yes, very good. We start doing now the plateau de fruits de mer, the oysters, and it's doing terribly well.
Well, the menu is a classic French menu. I mean, there are many dishes on here I'd really like to eat.
Yes, I think that's what we wanted to do. Traditional French menu, good ingredients to suit the locals. That's what they want to eat, absolutely.
I'm doing one of our dishes that came on the menu at first, and it's snail with lardo. It's a little fricassee with radicchio. I'm gonna just warm up the snail, and it's a quite quick thing to do. A little bit of butter, no color, just like really warm them up quickly. Now I get my lots and lots of garlic. You got that very strong garlic flavor coming out. And then in with the radicchio, a bit of parsley. We sell a lot of these. It's a one-pan dish pretty much. And then I want to wilt it down without burning. and then I just place it all on the toast. And this is lardo. It's cured fat. It's very kind of concentrated sauce. It's needed. A little bit of Piemonte split. A French kind of paprika.
Okay.
It's not too spicy. It's just a very nice flavour to it. And there we go.
Well, it's a menu which has got all the old favourites on here, and I noticed that Chef, he cooks them in a traditional style, but with a little bit of a flair. The scallop dish he was doing was different. It was just a little bit special. Is that what you've encouraged?
Yeah, so I think with that scallop dish looks not only wonderful, but it tastes really, really good. With the pickled girolles and the cauliflower puree, fresh spinach, it's wonderful.
So evenings are even busier than lunchtimes?
Yes. The main trade is in the evening.
And how long have you been open?
Full every night.
And how long have you been open?
3 months.
Incredible. Fantastic. Now, being a restaurateur runs in your blood, you guys, don't you? Your father was a restaurateur?
Yes, he was, and he's behind us, actually. A picture of him there. He used to have a one-star Michelin in the 60s. Was it in the 60s? Yes. He died at the age of 30 when he got his first star Michelin. But he was, the star at the time, in Le Maine-et-Loire, which is the west part of France. And, we became restaurateur because of him, nothing else. Yeah. And my mother, obviously, the name came up, Garnier, actually Eric found the names, not myself. And it's mainly because of our father, and our family being in the trade for so many years.
Sure. Well, Earls Court Road is not exactly known for its cuisine. There's lots of different restaurants, but nothing of your standard here. So are you relying on local customers?
The feedback we get for the moment is, thank you. You open a good place around us, Yeah. And I think local restaurant, it's so important.
And do you see this as a local restaurant?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That is your aim, to provide a good local...
Oh, yes. We don't want to be a London restaurant. We want to be a local restaurant.
Yeah, and that's what we've been used to do for the last, with Le Colombier and myself.
Yes.
The wine list is very extensive, and over 200 bottles, I think. How do you go about selecting a list like this?
We did import a lot of wine and bought en primeur with the Colombier. And so we decided, when we opened that restaurant, to use Le Colombier cellar as well. So we decided to produce 2 big caves here, one for the white wine and one for the red wine.
We keep all our red wines at the right temperature, 17 degrees.
Now, why 17? Some people would think that was cold.
No, 17 by the time it's taken away from the fridge, waiting a minute at the bar, being open and served, especially for a table of 2, within 15 minutes your wine will be at 19.
At the right temperature.
Just perfect temperature. Yeah. White wine, same thing. Here we are. 7 degrees, just the right temperature.
And the price are right,
Sure.
We don't work on percentage, we work on pound per bottle.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very admirable, and I think in the end that's the way everyone has to go, because some of the markups you see are ridiculous. Now, I like the decor here because it's so simple. You've gone that way particularly because it's retro in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, the lights are quite retro, and I think the light makes it all...
It's the way restaurants used to be in Paris. I remember lots of brasseries and bistros that were like this.
It's not to design it, it's just to make it feel good, to make it feel that it is a French restaurant, but it has moved on a little bit. It's fresh, it's clean, and it's comfortable. That was the idea, comfortable for the eye.
So, more restaurants coming, or are you happy with the 2?
I'm very happy with it.
Ian, Tell me a little bit about your background before you came here. You've been here, what, a couple of years now?
Just over a year I've been here. Before that I worked up in the northwest with Nigel Houth.
Oh right.
At Northcote Manor.
It's a busy restaurant as well.
Yeah, no, it's a beast. Really a real good learning curve, you know, going to work there really finished my training, and working with a businessman and a chef such as Nigel was a great experience.
Sure.
So I did a bit of work for Northcote. Also helped work alongside the pub group. He's got a pub chain, which I think is really refreshing, because I think, you know, as a part of the food industry now, I think pubs add a massive market to our, you know, and you look at these, you know, all these top chefs now all own these little pubs or are involved in pubs in some way. So to help Nigel with that was fantastic, and you know, him and Craig in the northwest that took pub food in dining pubs up to a new level. So that was a fantastic experience. And before that, I was down at Whatley Manor, 2-star Michelin, working with Martin Burge, who once again, fantastic experience, a real master of his trade, you know, and you know, you don't see so much of Martin Burge around or hear so much about Whatley Manor, but it's a very good place. I think it achieved 2 stars within 5 years, which is a phenomenal achievement. But he's very grounded, you know, and he's in the kitchen, and that's where he sees himself, so he doesn't put himself out there, maybe like some other chefs. So to work alongside with somebody like that on a daily basis was invaluable, you know. And then before that, I worked in London for a little bit, worked a little bit for Gordon in my younger days, and, you know, tried to work a bit abroad, you know, worked a bit in Amsterdam and in Australia and stuff, and, you know, whenever I speak to my young lads and they go, what do you think I should do next? I'd always encourage them to go abroad. I think, you know, working abroad, you know, London will always be London, England will always be England, but I think you've got to go out there and see what other people are doing and how other cultures work, and see the food and see the kitchen environment, and that's a massive learning curve.
Sure. Would you say that the London restaurants and hotel restaurants are at their prime at the moment?
Yes, yeah, and London is just crazy. I mean, it moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I think it is. I think, you know, recently the 5-star hotels, you know, they've all got these top end, you know, the world's best chefs in them now. You know, now you're getting Noma over here to cook. You know, you've got, you know, Dan Balbalodo, you know, I mean, you get the world's best chefs in London now, and they all want a piece of it. And the reason I want a piece of it, because it is a market for anyone, and you can do anything in London, do any style of food, and there's a market for it, and people want to try it, and people want to go there. So no, I think at the minute London is very exciting, you know, and then whether it's a £100 head meal in a 5-star hotel, or street food and getting burgers for £5 from King's Cross Eat Street, there's something there for everyone, and it's all a little bit exciting, so there's a real buzz. And I think it's a bit exciting because people don't know what's going to happen next, people don't know where we're going to end up next, because we're just always moving, always moving.
Well, you had the benefit of both worlds here with the classic menu and the seasonal menu.
It's something they take very seriously, and when I took the job here, you know, there was very much the room for me to grow and develop the food, but there was a couple of ones that weren't allowed to be touched, as it were, which Simon was quite insistent about, which is obviously for the right reason. Usually that's what, you know, the customers want.
Is this Simon, executive chef?
Yeah, Simon Young, the executive chef. So, yeah, so your smoked salmons and your prawn cocktails and your roast ribs and your Dover soles plain are still on there, and they still do remarkably well. And never do you get a complaint about them. We didn't want to alienate our regular guests, but obviously we wanted to build up a new sort of clientele and we stamp ourselves as an authority where people would want to come and dine and also have a more refined dining experience, and to offer the best of both worlds, which obviously you can do in a hotel because of the amount of investment they put in and the kitchens they do and the staffing levels, is a great opportunity. So we really try and give the customers everything they want, because I think that's a real key. I think the days of customers being dictated to what they should eat are coming to an end, and people want to come in here and they want to order what they want to order. So I think that's one of our success.
Ian, thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
Kieran and Imogen's Spanish-inspired Bravas was born out of a pop-up restaurant. Now it has a permanent home and a loyal following.
It all started with a supper club, which was basically a pop-up restaurant in mine and Imogen's flat. That was more for fun, really, just an enjoyment of hospitality and creating a nice space. We always had an intention to set up our own place, but that kind of proved to us we could work together, and also there was a demand for the kind of style of eating we wanted to do. So after about 6 months, we started looking for a site, and it was Spanish-inspired, very sort of casual, unpretentious, simple ingredients cooked well, and mainly about sharing. So the style of food was sharing plates amongst the table. We tried to design Bravas as a space that in the worst case scenario, we could run ourselves, just Imogen in the kitchen and myself front of house. We did all of the construction in the building ourselves, so we just had to take our time really. The supper clubs just kind of, we did 1 a month, 6 months, whilst searching for this.
The first one was really painful. I'm amazed we did another one after the first one. It was just really hard cooking out of a domestic kitchen, the two of us doing it together, not having anyone else help. But anyway, we got through it. The state of our kitchen afterwards was not great. I think we were cleaning up for like 2 days afterwards.
Throughout the supper club there'd be mood boards, just leant up against walls where people would be eating. It was kind of our space to sort of plan this. So yeah, it was a chance to trial the dishes, meet people. We used sort of source as our suppliers to get really good ingredients and that kind of thing. So it just helped us build a kind of network of people that were in the industry, but also a sort of customer base.
It basically brought Bravas into existence before we had any idea about a site or exactly what we were going to do. And we sort of road tested dishes on people. We gave everyone a questionnaire afterwards. So it was a really good way to sort of get a general idea of what people were thinking. And we still have customers coming in here now who were customers at the supper club.
We really sort of thrived on that. When they finished, that's what we do, sit down drinking wine, reading everyone's comments and seeing what people liked and what they didn't like, and how we could take that to a sort of restaurant space where people would come regularly, really.
The thing that we really love about Spanish food is the way that you get really high quality fresh food in just a completely unpretentious atmosphere. We have the tapas counter, and that dictates a lot for the menu, because you always have to think of the 6 dishes that are going to ideally be cold from the tapas counter, which is quite hard to make a balanced menu with 6 cold dishes on it. We have boquerones, which we always have on the menu. We've got some really nice ones that we just marinate in olive oil with a bit of parsley. And then we have broad beans, peas and jamon. They're just dressed with some arbequina oil and some Chardonnay vinegar, which is a really, really good vinegar. And then we have the roasted peppers with tuna and red onion. We have the lentils with goat's cheese and walnuts. So they're Spanish lentils of a similar sort of type to poi lentils. The way that we design this place is to keep it not labour intensive. So I think when we get really busy, we probably do about 90 covers in here. And I can probably do that myself, just with someone from the front of house helping plate stuff up.
It's all about being able to share small plates, try lots of things, and not cost the earth, really. We invested in a really good Spanish plancha, so meat and fish cooked a la plancha, nothing really more than garlic, lemon, parsley. We
always have a couple of fish a la plancha. Sometimes they'll be with garlic and parsley, sometimes they'll just be with lemon. And there's literally no messing around more than that. So today we have mackerel and hake. We generally have hake on a lot. It's just no messing around with it. You just have the fish, which is cut on a diagonal and just cooked for a matter of seconds on the plancha. But because the plancha is so hot, it just gets this amazing golden crust around the outside and stays really, really moist in the middle. We always have lamb chops on. Again, just a la plancha, just finished with a little bit of oregano, which came back in a suitcase from Spain. And we always have Iberico pork. The desserts are basically in the tapas style, so they're all sort of around £2.50, or the truffles are £1.95. And we just do orange and almond cake, meringue and truffles.
For us, the passion's in hospitality and creating the space as much as the food, so that's one of the satisfying things we've had here, is people really commenting on the vibe of the place as much as the food. So I think the future is making Bravas a sustainable business and then possibly going on and doing something a little bit different.
Jason Atherton, thank you very much. I know how busy you are. Backwards and forwards from Singapore, new restaurant just opened.
Yep.
You're going to cook something special for us today, which is?
Basically what we're going to do is, obviously using Maldon sea salt, one of my favourite salts, we're going to be doing a cured pork belly, which we then pan fry very lightly, and we serve it with nut seeds, grains and oats, summer cabbage, pork floss, which is something we picked up in Asia.
Sorry, what's it called?
pork floss.
And how do you do that?
So basically what we do with the pork is we cook the skin until it's nice and tender in a water bath.
Right.
Then we dehydrate it for a couple of days, and then when we put that back into oil, it puffs right up and turns into the world's largest quaver.
The end result? Extraordinary.
There you go, if you put it side of my head, you can see how big it is.
Your head or the pork?
Yeah.
Sorry. So let's have a go.
So this pork belly's been cooked for about 14-15 hours, so it's really nice and tender. And we're just going to go nicely through and against the grain. So we've got a nice, and we just square that off.
That's good.
So we get a nice long piece.
And will this appear on your menu here at Pond Street?
Yeah, we have it on the menu from time to time. It's one of our dishes we first opened.
Right.
And then we always cook onto a piece of. I like to use plancha grills. It's something we used to do at LV. So all the meat fish here gets either done in the charcoal oven or on the plancha grills.
Okay.
And it just means I feel we have a little bit more control of what we're doing.
So that's on greaseproof paper?
On greaseproof paper.
Straight onto the grill?
Straight onto the grill. Now we're going to piece up our garnish. So we've got some normal cooked lentils, which have just been cooked down in a little bit of chicken stock, some garlic, bay leaf, thyme, and mirepoix. Inside here we've got the pumpkin seeds, oats, seeds and grains, so all lots of different types of different seeds. We just add a little bit of sugar and salt to that. The idea of this is supposed to mimic where we get the pork on, the dingy old pork. It feeds on oats, seeds and grains.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we're trying to mimic what its diet is, you know. Goes on. And then we've got a sauce, a pork sauce to be made with beer.
Oh, sorry, pork?
With beer.
Yeah.
So basically we've used a pork stock.
Yeah.
It was just reduced beer, shallots, and onions, and then we add the pork stock to it, bring it right down, a little bit of sherry vinegar, and that's it.
Right.
So it won't take too long for that pork to be cooked.
You've just turned it?
Just turned it over, yeah, and we'll just do that all the way over, and then it's ready to go. Right, then just a little bit of butter. I don't use too much butter in my cuisine because I don't like my food to feel too heavy, you know?
Right.
So I use a little bit to heat up some vegetables, mostly olive oil, and obviously my Maldon sea salt.
So it's pork is fairly fatty anyway, so
yeah.
presumably that's why you do it that way around.
Yeah. So the less fat we add to it, the better it's got to be, right?
Right.
You know. That's our pork. Really is that quick. Then we just move over. Bring that over and track them as well.
Sorry.
Right, and what we've got here, this is fermented apple puree.
Okay.
So what we do is we peel down the apple, put it inside a sous vide bag, and then we just let it ferment itself naturally.
How long would that take?
It takes about 12 hours.
Okay.
And then you've got quite an unusual taste.
So you're doing it in batches?
Yeah.
And you get worried when you use the word ferment, but it's a natural process.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially for something like an apple, with the amount of acidity it's got inside.
Yeah.
The minute you try to do something with that, it just reacts straight away.
Sure.
So we're just making a bit of a base. And we put our pork on. At this stage, we just season it. A little bit of our Maldon sea salt at the top. Pork floss.
So this is the name you've come up with, pork floss?
No, that's its name in Asia.
That's its real name in
That's
Asia?
its real name,
Okay.
yeah. That's what they call it.
Oh, right.
And you can get chicken floss, fish floss. So try and say that one after a few drinks. Fish floss.
Fish floss.
So on goes the cabbage. And just a little part of the... And then we add a little bit of the forage herbs.
So what are these?
We've got some nasturtium leaves.
Nasturtium leaves, yeah.
Yeah, just lay around like so. A little bit of sweet Sicily.
Sweet Sicily. It's an unusual one.
Yeah. It's got a real, obviously, hence the name Sweet Sicily, but it's got a real beautiful, unusual, something like a little tingling sensation on the tongue when you eat it. It's delicious. A little bit of olive oil, and last but not least, we normally let the waiter pour on the pork sauce at the table, so we'd send it like that.
Takes it out, yeah.
Yeah, just so it's a little bit of theatre at the table, and then the waiter just dresses. And we end up with a dish, just pointing to the camera, which is our roasted pork belly.
Very nice.
With pork floss, nut seeds and grains and fermented apple puree.
Tremendous.
Using Maldon sea salt, of course.
Cool cucumber.